You know, sometimes history doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It creeps up on empires like a shadow at dusk, and when it strikes, whole worlds collapse in silence. Tonight, we're going back to the summer of 1944, not the beaches of Normandy that everyone remembers, not the glamour of D-Day footage we've seen 1,000 times, no. This is the other hammer that fell, the one that broke the back of the German army in the east so thoroughly that even their own commanders eventually had to look at the numbers and admit the truth. Operation Bagration. They lost nearly 400,000 men in the opening phases. Some accounts spin the worst of the collapse too. Those first brutal 11 days of the Soviet onslaught, divisions wiped from the map, entire army group center gutted, a front that had held for years, shattered like glass. I keep thinking about those young men, Germans, yes, but boys and fathers and husbands who marched into the Soviet Union years earlier with such terrible confidence. Now, in the heat of a Belarusian summer, they found themselves facing something inexorable. The Red Army had learned, they had bled for 3 brutal years, and now they came with a fury and coordination that the Wehrmacht simply could not match. The deception was masterful. The Soviets masked their intentions perfectly, while the Germans braced for another push in the south. The real blow came here in the center, over 1 million Soviet troops, thousands of tanks and guns, coordinated across vast distances. And the Germans? Spread thin, reserves pulled away, Hitler refusing to allow flexible defense, stand-fast orders that turned strongpoints into death traps. Imagine being one of those commanders, Field Marshal Ernst Busch, or the men on the ground watching their lines evaporate, pockets forming at Vitebsk, Bobruisk, Minsk, encirclements closing faster than anyone could react. You fight like hell house to house in burning villages. Desperate breakout attempts through forests and swamps, and still, the tide rolls over you. By the time Walter Model, the fireman of the Eastern Front, was rushed in to stabilize things, it was already too late for tens of thousands. The scale, it's almost impossible to comprehend. 400,000, that's not just numbers. On a staff map, that's villages back home that would never see their sons again. Families shattered, a generation gone in weeks. This wasn't just another battle. This was the moment the Eastern Front, that vast grinding machine that had already consumed millions, finally turned decisively. The Germans had gambled everything on Barbarossa in 41. They had pushed to the gates of Moscow, to the Volga at Stalingrad, to the Caucasus. But here in the summer of 44, as the Western Allies were just getting a foothold in France, the Soviet hammer fell and the spine of the German defense in the East snapped. I wonder what it felt like for the ordinary soldier. The nostalgia hits hard when you think about it. The early victories, the blitzkrieg glory that seemed unstoppable, the letters home full of hope, and then the long, slow realization that the war had changed. That the enemy had become a mirror image of their own relentless machine, only bigger, hungrier, and fueled by a hatred born of unimaginable suffering. The Soviets paid dearly too, hundreds of thousands of their own dead and wounded in this operation alone, but they could absorb it. Germany could not anymore, not after 3 years of attrition. Those 400,000 losses represented irreplaceable veterans. Experienced officers, the last coherent mobile reserves in the center. What followed was the long, agonizing retreat toward the Reich itself. He admitted it, whether it was Bush or Model reporting back, or even the high command facing the cold statistics later. One way or another, the truth came out. This one offensive, this concentrated blow timed with the Western invasion, exposed the hollowness of the German position. The war was no longer about conquest. It was about survival, and survival was slipping away faster than anyone dared say out loud. Looking back now, across the decades, it's hard not to feel a profound melancholy, not triumph, not celebration, just the weight of it all. Millions of lives across Europe and the Soviet Union, ground down in this titanic clash of ideologies and empires. Young men who never got to grow old, cities reduced to rubble, a continent that still carries the scars. Bagration didn't end the war overnight, but it ensured that the end, when it came, would be on terms dictated by the Allies. It opened the road to Warsaw, to the Vistula, and eventually to Berlin. It was the beginning of the final act. If there's one thing this history teaches us, it's how quickly momentum can shift, how even the most formidable armies can reach a breaking point when hubris meets reality, and how, in the end, war devours its children without mercy. Rest in peace to all who fell there on every side. The silence after such storms is the loudest sound of all.